Are you completely obsessed over the visuals of a physical media movie disc and you completely forgot the most important part, the sound? Well, we got to speak on that today and talk about why you're missing out on really what matters when it comes to physical media collecting. So let's get into it. In today's physical media news topic video, we talk about the importance of sound when it comes to collecting your physical media movie disc. We then get into a massive rant on why so many collectors forget about sound. They just care about the visuals. And I'm like, dude, you're missing the most important part. And then, of course, we talk about the future of audio and physical media disc collecting. What is the next revolution in sound for movies? So let's get into it. But first, you love collecting physical media just like me, whether it's Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, VHS, you are in the right spot, my mega collecting friend. You're passionate about your movies. You want to own the best of the best in your collection for your own needs. You're in the right spot. Go ahead and mega blockbust that like and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you're alerted when more physical media news topics break. And of course, leave in the comments below how important do you think is sound to your own physical media collection. Now, blockbustering into this news topic, we gotta celebrate sound today. Yes, the audio tracks on our physical media, because sometimes sound gets forget about, or it's just a second thought. A lot of people's primary focus when they're collecting their physical media discs are the visuals, but actually I can argue that sound is much more important. I noticed when I've been watching my 4K discs as of recent, I really noticed the sound a lot more than actually the visuals on screen. There's just something about a great audio mix on an awesome audio track that really just catches my attention. I mean, it surrounds the room and puts you into the movie. I think sound is so important, and sometimes we do forget about sound. But yes, we got to put more emphasis now on sound. And I know there's so much different ways you can kind of approach sound. Of course, you want to look at your physical media disc and see what it has to offer. Usually it has different audio tracks on it. Now, if you're collecting 4K discs, sometimes they have that Dolby Atmos option, which is definitely a benefit if you have a Dolby Atmos setup and you can really, benefit from the 7.1 speaker system and you really got it in the right placement, then oh my gosh, that can really transform your home theater movie watching experience. But even 5.1, a DTS track can still sound pretty darn great. But once again, to me, sound needs to have a focus on it, because if we can promote sound, then definitely when people are making their physical media discs for production for us collectors, they might put more effort into their sound mixes as well. So sound mixing is so important. Sometimes people forget about it. They just look, okay, is there a Dolby Atmos, label on there? Oh, it must be great on sound. I'm going to pick it up. But no, that's not always the case. Even if it has Dolby Atmos, we never even think sometimes, well, did they do the audio mix correct on it? How did they mix the audio to really benefit with the 7.1? So the audio mixing is just important as if they say do a Dolby Atmos track on there. You got to have a good audio mixing, because if somebody can go in there and really be watching the movie and placing certain sounds to come out different channels, and that's where you get the experience, right? Because you're getting different sounds out of the different speakers at different times. I mean, you can get some really amazing experiences there. Like I've seen that done really well with some horror movies before, like The Invisible Man. You can hear like the little cameras turning on the suit and it's going invisible. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's freaking amazing. Like that's a really good audio mix for that Dolby Atmos track. So once again, you got to have a great audio mix. That's why you got to kind of, keep tuned to the channel for this information on what does sound good when we do watch these movies. Because like I said, I think sound is so darn important. Yeah, the visuals are good. Don't get me wrong. If you can do some great visuals on a 4K disc and really, get the HDR and the Dolby Vision in there and make certain things pop and, colors just, really jump off the screen, like, yeah, that can look great. But I've actually noticed way more often than not that the audio sticks out more to me. Like with the Rocky collection, when I was watching that, yeah, some of the visuals were fine with it being on 4K. Like you could see more color in the boxing shorts, but really the 4K visual wasn't that big of an upgrade. But the audio sound just sounded fantastic for some reason. It's like you could feel every punch being thrown. It just sounded incredible. So once again, you need a good audio mix, you need good audio tracks, but it all goes together. And that's why every 4K disc is different. Just like with the visuals. Yeah, it depends who does the color timing and restoration work to give you a certain visual representation, right? It's the same with the audio, guys. It's the exact same. Who goes in and does the audio mixing? And you could completely do it wrong and get mistakes on there. We've seen that with movies before where there'll be some audio thing missing, like The Wiz from the Criterion Collection that just came out in 4K. That had a little audio issue. And we've been hearing more and more from some of these boutique labels that, oh, yeah, sometimes they get those little audio technical issues in there, but that can completely throw off a movie more so than the visuals. Once again, like I said, a good looking movie is fantastic. Yes, I can tell the difference between 4K and Blu-ray most of the time, because, just of how my TV is, the distance from the screen I am. All right, now it's time for a massive rant on why so many people just focus on the freaking visuals for a 4K or Blu-ray disc or even heck a DVD. They only care about the picture on screen. I don't get it. Movie watching, correct me if I'm wrong, is multiple components, and it has to be the listening, the audio as well, that goes along with the moving picture image. Yes, to me, that is truly the movie watching experience. That's why I'm not as big of a fan as like silent films. Not really for me. For me to get a really full experience into a movie, I need that audio as well to go along with the visual. So, oh my gosh, hearing, the amazing dialogue and the conversations these characters are having, or of course the music in the background, right? The soundtracks, or a full-on orchestral score. To me, that just makes so much of a difference. Like, I mean, come on, you get a movie and you just compare, okay, here's the visuals, here's the sound, right? If you remove the sound, how are you going to feel about the movie? Like, come on, you take Halloween, for example, one of my favorite movies of all time. You take out that John Carpenter score, iconic musical score in there, and that's why on a disc the audio is so important, because you want to hear it so crisp and clean, and just like you want to be into the movie with how the audio track is done. So once again, to me, I've been noticing a lot more lately when I'm watching movies, I'm picking up more on the audio rather than the visuals. Like I said, don't get me wrong, I do love some good visuals in there, and I will notice that as well. But I think the audio is more important now than the visuals have ever been before. And I think more people in the community, they're always focusing on the visuals, right? They're talking Dolby Vision, talking HDR. They're not as much focused on the sound. And if they do talk about the sound, it's just saying, okay, what kind of audio track does it have? But do they dive into actually the audio mixing of it all? Like, how was the audio mixing done? Like, what kind of noises can you hear at different times? What gets the certain channels with your setup system, right? Does this benefit from a surround system? Like, what do you need to really hear this movie in the best way possible? Now, of course, people are going to be, picky on, how they do the audio mixing and whatnot. Some people want it how it's done originally. Some people want, something fresh. Like, hey, let's do a new audio mix. Let's get a Dolby Atmos track in there. I want to hear something different with this, expensive 4K purchase, right? And that's me too. Just like with visuals, where I'm like, I want to see something different if I get a 4K disc. I don't want it to look like the Blu-ray. Same thing with the audio. I want to hear an upgrade in that audio track, some new sound mixing, because I think every movie can benefit from good sound mixing and, of course, a really good like Dolby Atmos track. I know some people say some movies like, oh, comedies, they don't really need a 4K disc. Certain horror movies, they don't need a 4K disc. But I think they need the 4K disc, not just for visuals there, but for the sound mixing. They could absolutely do, like the Blair Witch Project. That's one that gets brought up all the time. People are like, you want it to look old school like it was on a VHS. You don't need a 4K of it. But I disagree with that. I want to see a 4K of that, not just, visuals, but I really want it mainly for the audio track. If somebody could go in with the sound mixing and you could hear them just like kind of stepping, in the forest on all those little tree branches, breaking and stuff, like you could hear all those sounds, like those horrific sounds of them getting lost in the woods. Like, oh my gosh, if you do that audio mixing right on a Dolby Atmos track and you got the correct setup, dang, that could be a transformative experience. That'd be super cool. Same with like comedy movies out there. I know some people are like, do we really need the visuals of a comedy in 4K? Maybe, maybe not. But the sounds, oh my gosh, yes, if you can get some good audio mixing with a lot of those comedies, because a lot of comedies have, great dialogue and awesome music. Like if you can mix it really well and we just have, a crisp, clean sounding disc where you can just hear so much stuff there. Like you maybe even hear some laughter. I don't know, you're watching a sitcom or something like that, hear the audience laughter at different kind of channels. That would be so freaking amazing. Like, yes. Like when I'm watching, for example, my friend's 4K set, I'm not really noticing a big difference in the visuals, say from the Blu-ray set, but I am noticing a big difference in the sound. I'm like, I can hear so much more than ever before and in different ways I didn't notice. So I really think now with my own viewing experience, I think it's more about the sound, guys. Yeah, of course, ideally you want amazing visuals, amazing sound for the best combination of movie watching possible. But I think it's sound, guys. And I don't know. You guys got to help me out. Let me know in the comments why people put so much emphasis more on the visuals, like 9 out of 10 times, rather than the sound. I think it should be the opposite. Like, let's focus on the sound, people, the sound of music. But now let's talk about the future of audio and sound mixing and audio tracks and where it all goes next and the next physical media discs that get released. Are we ever going to get 8K with some new Atmos track? Is it going to be 9.1 Dolby Atmos, something like that? No, that's probably not going to happen. It's Dolby Atmos, 7.1, kind of the final for audio. Probably, most likely, but that's okay. A 7.1 setup is freaking amazing and phenomenal. If you can do that home theater setup, yes, very dang pricey, but it's totally worth it for the movie, like just hearing experience as you're watching a movie. So ideally, of course, you want to get the Dolby Atmos setup with all the speakers. You want to place them in the correct areas too. It's all about, room acoustics too. Like you got to have right placement to really hear it well. If you're not putting speakers in the right place, it's not gonna, make as big of a difference. So you want to get your home theater set up all in order, calibrate it correctly. If you can do that good, what I want to see is every movie get to a 4K disc, not for the visuals, but so we put those Dolby Atmos tracks on there and they do some really good sound mixing for those movies. Like I want to see all of our favorite movies of all time with some amazing Dolby Atmos tracks and some good sound mixing to go along with it. Now, of course, if you're a Blu-ray collector, you're with the DTS, 5.1 audio tracks. Those sound good too. Don't get me wrong. Like 5.1, that's like a great setup as well. Like that is still next level compared to casual movie watchers out there. So 5.1 is excellent as well if you can set that up really nicely too in your home. But yeah, not just focusing once again on the audio tracks. Is it going to be Dolby Atmos? Is it going to be 5.1? But the mixing of the audio, guys, is so darn important. And I totally didn't even think about this before. It was always visuals to me, visuals. But I think where we go next, because I think we got a lot of the visuals down in the physical media collecting world, we focus more on the audio for all of our favorite movies. And we keep releasing some of these catalog titles, movies we want to get to, Blu-ray for the first time or 4K to the first time. But when they do their audio tracks, whatever it is, whether it's 5.1, 7.1, they actually focus on the sound mixing even more, not just the visuals. We want great visuals, don't get me wrong, but also focus on the sound. I think that could really change how we collect going forward if people really promote the sound more. And then we see that these studios and these boutique labels are even more focused on the sound than ever before. And they really highlight the sound even more so than just the visuals. And once again, you can't just look, oh, is it Dolby Atmos? Is it DTS? No, but you got to listen to it. You got to test it out. You got to see how the sound mix actually is to know if they did the audio really amazing on a movie. So once again, I think I'm on board now with sound. I'm all about the sound now over the visuals, but you guys will have to let me know in the comments below in your personal opinion. Do you care more about the visuals or audio? Do you think there's not enough focus on the audio tracks out there and the sound mixing like me that I just noticed like what a great one could really be? Let's have those fun movie conversations down below. course, if you haven't already, my mega collecting friend, go ahead and mega blockbust that like and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you're alerted when more physical media news and entertainment topics get out there. And of course, most importantly, have a great day watching and talking these movies. Share this video with other physical media collectors out there so we grow this amazing collecting community. And of course, another easy way to help the channel just by mega blockbustering another video, watching it all the way through right now. And thank you so much, my mega membership supporters. If you love talking and collecting movies, consider joining the Mega League of Film Fans through memberships to support content creation while gaining access to perks like shoutouts, exclusive videos, and future topic choices.